Good morning, students. I am Mrs. Sindhu. I am here today to explain you all about this academic year NCERT economics syllabus, which is being classified into two different sections, one as microeconomics, the other one as macroeconomics. Traditionally, economics is being studied under two different approaches. One is microeconomics, the other one is macroeconomics. Of course, you need to have a detailed understanding towards what you're going to study for this academic year. Of course, as I told, there are two sections. One is microeconomics, which consists of 6 units. The other one is macroeconomics, which consists of the other 6 units. Altogether, there will be 12 units you are going to study, and it will be interesting and you would enjoy a lot. But before that, let us have a detailed or a brief introduction towards each and every unit that you are going to study for this year. As I told you, your whole syllabus has been divided into two different sections. The first section is microeconomics, which consists of 6 units, which I have already quoted on the board. Unit 1 deals with introduction. It gives you a detailed introduction towards not only microeconomics, but also it tells you what does economics means. As well, you will have to learn about the many things, including the theory of consumer behavior, production and cost, the theory of the firm under perfect competition, market equilibrium, and non-competitive market. And the second section, that is macroeconomics, consists of 6 other units, including introduction, national income accounting, money and banking, income determination, the government, function and scope, open economy. Students, if we blindly look into these 12 units that you are going to study, it may actually confuse you. So let us first understand what is micro and macroeconomics. Economics is broadly divided and studied under two branches, microeconomics and macroeconomics. Micro, the word micro refers to small. That means we are going to study about one specific unit of the economy, not all the economy or all the units combined together. To give you an example, if there are about 50 students in a class, if we study about one particular student, it becomes a micro study. If we combine together all the students and study, it becomes a macro study. I think now you will be getting an idea that micro, the word micro refers to small, whereas macro refers to large or aggregate. When we study about one specific unit of the economy, here we are not going to study about a student in a class or something else. Since we are studying about economics, we are particularly concerned with economic activities like production, consumption, distribution, and exchange of goods and services. As you know very well, economics is the study of how the consumers makes their choice, how a producer makes his choice, and how the whole economy behaves. Likewise, if we study about one single consumer or one production unit, one single industries and its employment, the income of a single consumer, that becomes micro study. Whereas, if we look into macroeconomics, there we are not going to study about individual unit, rather we are studying about all the units combined together. There we study about national income, which is the income of all the people of the country, and we study about consumers' demand definitely, but not with a single consumer, but with all the consumers, that is we call it as aggregate demand. We study about total production, total consumption, national income, international trade, inflation, and other variables in macroeconomics. As far as microeconomics is concerned, we study about one small specific unit of the economy. It may be a consumer, a producer, or a production unit, or one single commodity and its demand. One small specific at a point of time is considered as microeconomics, where all the units combined together is called as macroeconomics. Therefore, if you look into these particular units, units, it gives you a detailed introduction about what is economics and what is an economy and other related topics you come under this introductory part. Then how a consumer behaves. You know very well, every people does not have enough and sufficient money with them in order to fulfill their requirements. Therefore, knowing their income and prices of goods and services, how do they behave in purchasing of goods and services, they make a budget, they make a plan of their income and expenditure, and they do have to look into their maximization of satisfaction. They need to satisfy their needs, requirements and wants. How do they behave? And the theory is studied in particular unit called as theory of consumer behavior regarding production and cost by making use of the 4 factors of production, and especially you study in the form of production function. You study about how the production unit takes decision of producing goods and services, what are the costs incurred in the short run and in the long run, what are the types of cost, everything will be studied under this unit called as production and cost. Then comes the market situation. There may not be the same market condition for all the commodities in the economy. It differs from one place to another, and it differs from one person to another and from one commodity to other. Therefore, we need to look into market structure, which is broadly classified into perfect competitive market and non-competitive market. Chapter 4 is particularly dealing with the market condition called as perfect competition. There you study the theory of the firm under perfect competition. And then comes chapter 5 or unit 5, which speaks about the state of balance or rest called as equilibrium. There you study about market equilibrium, where the demand and supply factor should be equal, and here you study about price ceiling, price floor and other related concepts. And finally comes to non-competitive market. And in reality, in the real world, there is no perfect competition as such. Everything are not perfect. Therefore, there are imperfect elements associated in the market structure. There you study about 3 important market structure called as monopoly, monopolistic competition, oligopoly, which is quite very important concept when it comes to non-competitive markets. Likewise, when you come across with macroeconomics, there are 6 such units which speaks not with the individual unit like a single producer or a consumer or an individual income, but it do speaks about the overall income of the economy called as national income. And here how the national income is measured, how it is calculated, what are the methods that are available to measure this national income of the country. In order to know the growth rate of any economy, take for example India, we will see the GDP. If the GDP growth rate is more, we say that the country is doing well. Likewise, for any country, taking account or estimation of national income is quite very important, which we will study in this particular unit called as national income accounting. Then comes the concept money and banking, right? You know very well, bank plays a very important role in lending and borrowing activities of the people, which is quite very important in order to have the increased growth rate in the economy. Therefore, we have money and banking. Then comes income determination. This is quite very important because J.M. Keynes, an eminent scholar, an eminent economist, has highlighted that for any economy, income, employment as well as the money plays a very important role, and he himself has written the general theory of income, employment, output, which is being studied in detail in this chapter called as income determination. Then comes government. Government plays a very important role in any economy. It may be developed, underdeveloped or developing economy. Maybe the functions of the government is to be seen, how the government budget is being framed, and instruments of government budget including public finance, public expenditure, public debt, deficit financing. All these concepts will be studied under this particular unit. Then comes open economy. It gives an idea about our relation with the international trade, and especially we look into balance of trade, balance of payment, flexible exchange rate, fixed exchange rate, and other topics are covered under this chapter called as open economy. Yes, students, you know very well we have got an understanding towards what we are going to study for this year, and today we are taking up with microeconomics unit 1. The first and the foremost topic that we need to consider in this particular unit is a simple economy. Before understanding the working of simple economy, we need to know what does economic means in the words of Lionel Robbins. Though we have lot many definitions given by different economists with regarding to economics, our definition given by Lionel Robbins becomes more important because he highlighted the actual economic problem that is associated with all the economies of the world. In his words, economics is a science. Lionel Robbins says that economics is a science which studies human behavior as a relationship between ends and scarce means which have alternative uses. That means we humans have unlimited wants. In the main idea behind this definition is that human wants are unlimited in number and variety, whereas the resources that are available to satisfy our wants are very limited, and this limited word can also be called as scarce. The problem scarcity is associated with not only individual but with the society, the overall economies of the world. There is no unlimited resources that are available with each and every individual, but there is a problem of scarcity. The resources are not only scarce, but they can be put to the various alternative uses, which you can also call it as competing usages. There arise the problem of choice. Therefore, we can say that economics is also a science which studies the choice making behavior, how to make a proper choice when we have limited resources. You may be knowing that each and every household's income may not be the same. Some are getting a very good income maybe in terms of lakhs, some are getting a very low income maybe in terms of 1,000, but one who is getting a very low income maybe around 20 or 10,000 or 20,000, he need to know that how I need to use these resources for various uses. It may be paying the rent, electricity bill, children fee and others, and he need to see that he need to allocate the resources in the best possible manner, so he will not get into any economic problem. Therefore, here how best we are using the available scarce resources in the best possible manner becomes very important, and in economics we study this problem of choice, how the available limited or scarce resources can be best utilized to satisfy our wants, to maximize our wants. Therefore, economics is also called as a science which deals with the rational management of limited resources in such a manner that at micro level it is all about how an individual is able to maximize his wants, and at the macro level how a country is able to achieve the highest possible GDP. So this is all about economics in the words of Lionel Robbins, but how it is connected with this topic is quite very important. As I told you, in the whole world, in reality, every individual, society and the economy at the national and international level are facing the problem of scarcity and not plenty. When there is a problem of scarcity, it leads to various other economic problems. Therefore, scarcity is the main cause for all the economic problem that we are facing today. Therefore, how best the scarce resources is to be utilized is the idea that we derive through our discipline, economics. So let us first understand what is economy or economic system. Since there is a particular concept called as simple economy, we need to know what is the term economy means, meaning of economy or economic system. It is very simple, student. Economy or economic system is a mechanism through which scarce resources are prioritized and organized for the production of goods and services. How best the scarce resources are allocated and how it is being allocated and with all the priority, and how the goods and services are produced, that is the meaning, that mechanism itself is called as economy or economic system. Now let us directly start with the topic, a simple economy. What does the simple economy refers? We are not taking the economy as a whole because there are various decision making units, but for our consideration, to make our understanding simple, we are considering the working of a simple economy. Here we are considering three different decision making units. One is a family farm, a weaver, and the other one is a teacher. So let us start understanding the working of a simple economy. In any society, people need variety of goods and services in their daily life, including the basic requirements like food, clothing, shelter, and transportation facilities. People may have to travel from one place to another, maybe for the sake of their job or for the sake of studies. People may have to travel from one place to another. So they require the transport facilities, which includes roads, railways, and for their communication purpose, we have postal and telecommunication services, and there are various other services like that of doctors, engineers, lawyers, teachers. In fact, the list of goods and services that any individual need is so large that no individual in the society has all the things that he or she needs. Do we have all the things that we need? Like, I may have the want of or need of buying a very costliest car, but I may not have the resources to buy such a costly car because my income, the level of income may not permit me to buy such costly car. Therefore, we have unlimited wants, we have unlimited requirements, but how far we can able to fulfill them, how far we can be able to purchase them is a question, because we may not have enough resources to fulfill our needs. But of course, every individual, every decision making unit have some or the other resources with which they can produce some goods and services. In order to understand this, how every person is involved in one or the other economic activity and how they can able to generate income out of that and how they can able to fulfill their requirements, needs out of that, to understand the working of a simple economy, therefore we have taken the three important decision making unit which I have quoted here. That is a family farm. Let us understand what are the resources that a family farm may own. Usually a family which is relying upon agricultural activity, especially small and marginal farmers, may own a small plot of land, a pair of bullocks, as well as other farming implements, and also some grains and the labor service of their family members. Likewise, a weaver. What do a weaver may own? Does a weaver can own a very big house? Not possible. A weaver may own some yarn, some cotton, as well as the instruments required for weaving cloth. A teacher. What does a teacher possess? The resources that a teacher can possess is his or her skill. With that, she or he can impart knowledge to the students. Therefore, in this way, each and every decision making unit can produce some goods and services where they can use a part of it for themselves and the rest they are going to exchange with the other requirements that they need. What I am going to say is here, let us take the same example, a family farm. A family farm, let us consider he can produce corn, coconut, paddy, you can relate to any good. A family farm can produce some corn where it keeps a part of the produce for self-consumption, and the rest of the produce will be used for the procurement of clothing, housing, and various other goods and services that it requires. Similarly, a weaver can obtain many goods and services that it requires just by exchanging the clothes, what it is being produced, what he or she will be produced in his yarn. Likewise, a teacher may get some money by teaching, but that money can be utilized for buying many goods and services to satisfy his or her wants. Therefore, what I am going to say here is that every person does possess some resources out of which they can fulfill their requirements and needs. No individual in the society society has unlimited resources. As I told you, the resources are really very, very scarce or limited, and this forces every person to make choice among different goods and services in the society. And how this choice making is done? It is done on the basis of opportunity principle. This opportunity principle, it refers to, if we want to take more of some unit, we need to take less of the others. Suppose if we want to enjoy one particular thing, we may have to sacrifice the other thing. To give an example, if a family wants to have a very big house, it may have to give up the idea of buying new acres of land. If a family wants to give a better education for their children, they may have to give up the idea of having some luxuries of life. Therefore, in this way, if we want to enjoy something, we need to forego or sacrifice some other thing. Therefore, the amount of next best alternative that is being sacrificed or foregone for having one extra unit of the other is called as opportunity cost. And there will be a question relating to this: what is opportunity cost? And here we need to know, student, here we understood that yes, in the presence of scarcity, how best we can produce goods and services by allocating the scarce resources, and how it is distributed among different sections of the society is the basic problem faced by all the economies of the world, or in any society. Since we have taken a simple economy, we must use the term society. So this is what we have understood about the working of a simple economy. There will be a 4 marks question relating to this, and you would have to explain with the help of the 3 different decision making unit which I have already explained you. It may be a family farm, or it may be a weaver and a teacher. Students, as you know very well that scarcity is the root cause of all economic problem, because as I told you, we have unlimited wants, but the resources to satisfy our wants are very, very limited. That is nothing but scarce. And now we are taking up the second important topic, which also plays a very important role in gaining 4 marks, because it has been repeatedly asking in every year examination. So let us take up the next topic, that is central problems of an economy. Basically, every economy faces 3 central problems, and those are what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. So the 3 central problems that any economy can face are what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. And this problem is to be explained in detail so that you will get 4 marks very easily. Let us start understanding with the first and the central problem of an economy, and that is what to produce. What to produce is a problem regarding to what type of goods is to be produced and in what quantity. There are a lot to be decided, whether to produce consumer goods or luxurious goods, whether to produce agricultural goods or industrial goods, whether the resources is to be used more on education or health, whether to use the resources more to build a strong military services. Therefore, this decision is to be taken depending upon the priority. If, for example, if there is a threat of enemy country like what we are facing today, India, there is a threat from our neighboring country, that is China. So we may have to allocate more resources to build a very strong military service so that we will get protected. And therefore, depending upon the priority, we need to decide where the resources is to be allocated, what type of goods is to be produced. Therefore, the first central problem that any economy faces is what to produce, is a problem of choice, that is whether to produce agricultural goods or luxurious goods, agricultural goods or industrial goods, Yes, students, as I told you, here the central problem is to decide what type of goods is to be produced and in what quantities, whether to have more and more resources to be allocated on military services, whether to produce more of consumer goods or luxurious goods, whether to produce more of agriculture or industrial goods. This decision is to be made based on the priority. Then comes the second important problem, and that is how to produce. This is basically the problem of choice of technique. The choice of technique of production is the second prior problem that is being faced by any economy, since there are two techniques of production of goods and services, and those are labor intensive technique and capital intensive technique. What is labor intensive technique? When more laborers are used in the production than capital, that is nothing but machinery, we call it as labor intensive technique. Since we are using more laborers in the production than machinery, or we call it as labor intensive technique. Likewise, what is capital intensive technique? When we adopt or when we use more capital than laborers, we call it as capital intensive technique. So the economy has to decide what type of technique that the economy has to adopt in order to produce goods and services becomes a problem. It all depends upon the economic condition, which is backed by cost of production on the one hand and the availability of resources on the other hand. Therefore, depending upon their economic condition, economy has to decide what type of technique is to be adopted to produce goods and services. Then comes for whom to produce. Of course, once the goods and services are produced, the final goods and services is to be distributed. What type of question is this? Yes, whom the goods will be distributed? It will be distributed among the individuals of the society. No, yes, it's very true. It will be distributed among the individuals of the society, but how it is distributed, who will get how much, who gets more, who gets less, because in any society there are different sections of people, such as lower middle class, lower class, people who are living below poverty line, as well as the richer section of the society. Whether the goods is to be distributed in equal terms, whether it is to be distributed based on their purchasing power, everything is to be decided. Therefore, here comes how the produced goods and services is to be distributed. The economy has to adopt the best possible mechanism in order to distribute goods and services, and this mechanism should always be the objective of reducing inequality in the distribution of income. Inequality in the distribution of income is nothing but reducing poverty, and on the other hand, it has to see that it will add on to social welfare as well as standard of living of the people. Here, the standard of living of the people should be enhanced, as well as the growth rate of the economy should also be increased. In such a manner, the mechanism is to be adopted in order to distribute goods and services among different sections of the society, and this is the problem of distribution. To speak once again about this particular topic, central problems of an economy, I would repeat, students, there are three central problems that every economy faces, that is what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. What to produce is a problem related to choice, and the second one, how to produce, is a problem related to choice of technique of production, and for whom to produce is a problem pertaining to distribution of final goods and services. So these are the three central problems that every economy faces. Students, as you know very well, we have come across with two topics. One is the working of a simple economy, the other one is central problems of an economy. Based on these two topics, I am giving you an assignment with two different questions, and those are: briefly explain how the family farm as well as a weaver, teacher can use their resources to fulfill their needs in a simple economy. This is to be explained for 4 marks, and based on the explanation I have given, and also you can download the textbook in the internet, and you can write 12 sentences as an assignment. You can write it and you can upload it in the website, and depending upon the link provided in the website, you can just click on that and you can write it in a normal page. You can take a photo of it and you can upload it in the internet. You know better usage of phone and internet rather than any teacher. That's why I am giving you this assignment. And the second important question I am giving is, briefly explain the central problems of an economy. These are the two questions which you need to answer, which is very important from 4 marks point of view. Therefore, you need to write this on a serious note. I am telling you, these two questions is to be answered and you need to upload it in the website. I am going to check you, and any queries you can also post. We will answer as soon as possible. Hope you all have understood these two topics, and next class we are going to deal with an interesting topic with a diagram called as production possibility frontier. Thank you very much, student. Hope you all understood. Thank you very much and bye.